So you want to be a Buccaneer. So you want to be a Dragon Ball Z reference and also play my main class. Then you've come to the right video. In the beginner tab, we have Master of Swimming. Now, when you're in Aqua Road or underwater at all, you swim super fast. You also don't lose HP when you're underwater, like most other classes. You also get Master of Organization, which used to be a Cannoneer specific skill, but now all the other Adventurer or Explorer pirates have it. Jet doesn't count. So you get 24 extra inventory slots as soon as you start the class. So it's great for if you just want to have a mule on the side, you could always do that. Because you have 24 extra slots. It's really good. Alright, so with that, let's move into first job. Somersault Kick. This will be your first job mobbing skill. It's pretty slow actually. Here, let me get rid of these skills real quick so I don't have buffs on. Okay, so it's pretty slow in first job. This is the attack speed that it has. It's not too great, but it does have a hidden property in it, which is that it gives you invincibility frames. Now, the invincibility frames that I'm mentioning don't work with percent HP or bombs, such as Lucid bombs, Ursus bombs, Arc's full screen attack. It doesn't work with any of that stuff. It only applies to regular attacks, so like if you're fighting Pink Bean, it's really useful for when the statues stab their sword down and they try to hit you with 1-1, which brings your HP and MP down to 1. It's great for that. It's great for also avoiding, what was it? Pink Bean's Tail Slam, where he brings your HP and MP down to 1. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. It's a deceivingly good skill. Alright, so, it doesn't do that much damage. I mean, 305%, I guess that's alright, but not really. A lot of people prefer to use Double Shot in first job. Even though it's much weaker, it does hit twice and it's a longer range skill. It attacks much faster as well. So Double Shot might be better. The thing is that it only attacks one enemy. But Somersault Kick hits 6. Alright, so next we move on to Octopush, which is your flash jump. Goes pretty far actually. Pretty far, pretty fast. So really good. I like it a lot. Dash, don't really put into this. The way it's supposed to work is you double tap left or right, and then it makes you move faster, you have more jump. But it's not like a buff. It's only when you activate it for 4 seconds you get that. On top of that, it also increases Corkscrew Blow and Triple Fire if you're a gunslinger. The damage by like 2 times. So next we have the passives. Crit damage and crit rate. And then that one. And moving on to second job, you get Tornado Uppercut. And Tornado Uppercut... Okay, so I guess we can get into the energy stuff. So over here we have the energy system. Or I guess I'll go over energy charge first. So in second job you can hold 5,000 energy in here. So right now I would say I have about 5,000 because later on you get one that has 10,000. Let me just kill this guy real quick. Alright, so so yeah, you can hold 5,000 energy, and every time you attack, you regain, you charge up 150 energy. However, when you're fully charged, you get an aura around you, and this starts glowing. When this happens, instead of skills that are called like energy something, instead of taking up MP, they take up energy. So it'll start using up the energy that you stored in here. So Tornado Uppercut goes about that far when you're uncharged. And then if I were to charge, it would go farther because Tornado Uppercut turns into a new skill called Energy Vortex. And it goes farther. A little bit farther. And instead of using MP, it now uses energy. Alright, so next we have, well, I guess I'm gonna go over the other thing. Nope, never mind. There's nothing else to talk about. Let's see, half the effect while charging. Yep. Corkscrew Blow. So Corkscrew Blow is, it used to not be as good as Tornado Uppercut for training. But I think that since they gave it 2 extra hits, because it used to only hit once and it wasn't really good, I think this would be the actual main mobbing skill, I think. Later on, you can combine it with Spiral Assault and also Octopunch, although you wouldn't want to do it with Octopunch, but I'll show it anyway when we get to it. The thing I don't like about this skill is that it has a delayed attack. So the punch comes out, and then maybe half a second later, the attack actually hits. And I kind of don't like that. It messes with my mind. But anyway. So yeah. Hits 6 enemies. Knuckle Booster. Increases your attack speed by 2. And the rest are passive. Although you do get 100% stance in second job, so that's good. Perseverance. This skill will save you so many potions. Because you remember how energy skills only use energy and not MP? So while you're using the energy skills, you're also recovering your MP that you might have used while you were charging. So this really saves you later on from MP potions. And yeah, let's move into third job. So in third job, you get Spiral Assault. And Spiral Assault pushes you and the enemy. Well, actually, I'm one-hitting them here, but it'll push you and the enemy forward. And remember how I said you could combine it with Corkscrew Blow? So if you press Spiral Assault and then press Corkscrew Blow and a direction, you'll then teleport to the nearest monster and punch them. So this could be pretty useful for mobbing. However, it doesn't seem to really go onto different platforms. Oh, no, it does. I guess it has to be a very close, leveled platform. Like, it can't be too high above like this one. It has to be more like from here to here, maybe. Hey, let me see. Yeah, so something like that. So you can teleport left or right, and I guess that'll help with mobbing. Hedgehog Buster. So this is what it's called when you're charged. And when you're charged, it also has 2 extra orbs that go off of it, making it farther, a longer ranged attack. So when it's not charged, you only get this first orb here, and I think it's smaller as well. So what it does is it stuns enemies at a 50% chance for 7 seconds. And stunning will come in handy later on, when I go over the passive. So then we get Supercharged, and this makes your 5,000 energy capacity go to 10,000. And then when you attack, instead of charging 150 energy, you charge 300 now. So when you're charged, when you're like fully charged, you gain 30 attack and other stuff, whatever. And then of course only half of that counts when you're actually charging up. Let's see. I guess that's all I'll mention there. So Static Thumper. This skill used to be called Shockwave. And it's been around since Bucks first came out. It's never been useful. They've tried to make this skill useful. They made it faster, they made it, all types of different things happen to it. But it still cuts short. Hold on, let me kill this guy. It still cuts short when you're on the, if there's a platform in the way, even just a little bit, it won't bring out all of the shockwaves. On top of that, it only does 1 line, but it does really good damage. It's just not worth using. Like, this skill is just not good. I don't know why Nexon keeps it around. It used to be called Shockwave, as I mentioned, but Jet came out and Jet stole this skill, naming it Static Thumper, but then they lost the skill, or I think they still have it, but anyway. But it's not called Static Thumper anymore, but we were left with the changed name, so I kind of wish that they would bring it back to Shockwave or just completely get rid of this skill. Why did I go on that rant? It's just going to make this video longer. Alright, so next we have Roll of the Dice. And when you use Roll of the Dice, of course you have a chance to get, oops, that's the 5th job one. Whatever. So, you roll 1 dice. I rolled 3 because I have the 5th drop version. And you, of course, have a chance to get 1 through 6. A 1 gives you nothing. A 2 gives you defense and magic defense. A 3 gives you HP and MP. A 4 gives you crit rate. A 5 gives you damage. And a 6 gives you EXP. Later on, there's a hyper passive that allows you to get a 7. Not really worth it, but I'll tell you what it does anyway. The 7 gives you ignore enemy defense. Oh, and they can stack, by the way. So if I were to do, if I were to get double a number, so like double 4s, I believe 1 4 gives you 15% crit rate, and 2 4s would give me 25. Because every time they stack, they increase it by 10%. And then if you get a 6, it's like 30% EXP or something. Anyway, is it 30? Maybe it's only 20, and then it's 30 when it's 2. I don't remember the numbers. Alright, so... And then we have some passives. Precision Strikes. Increases your crit and crit damage, but when you're attacking a boss, your critical rate is increased by 20%. So, what I did was I actually got... well, you can't see it here. But I got to 80%. I have 7 extra percent from Legion. But I got to 80%, so when I'm mobbing, I only have 80%, right? But if I'm bossing, then I have 100% crit rate. So that's pretty much why I got to 80%. You could get to 100 if you want, but I just like having 80. It's enough for me. Especially because of Stun Mastery. So Stun Mastery, there's a stun rate for all of your attacks now, because remember the only stun skill that we used to have was Hedgehog Buster. So now there's a 20% chance to stun an enemy for all of your attacks. And when you attack a stunned enemy, you gain 60% extra crit rate on that enemy that's stunned. And then another passive, this just reduces the damage that you take. Also works on 1-1, so your HP and MP will never go... Well, your HP won't ever go down to like 1 when you get hit by a 1-1 skill. So moving on to 4th job, we have Octopunch, which is your main bossing skill. Right now I have the charged version, so it actually reaches farther, and there's like these cool lightning effects that come off of it. But when you're uncharged, it does 8 lines, and when you are charged, it does 10 lines. And that's pretty much all. Let's see, so next we have Dragon Strike. When you use Dragon Strike, it puts a debuff on enemies. And the debuff allows the enemies to take 20% final damage. So these guys actually won't survive the hit. Let me take off my weapon real quick so I can show you. So when you use Dragon Strike, it puts a debuff on enemies. Of course you come out when I don't have my weapon. And that enemy right there would take 20% final damage from my attacks. And the debuff lasts for 15 seconds, and the cooldown for the skill is 10 seconds. So it's pretty good. Oh, you can only use the skill when you're fully charged, by the way. You can't use it when you're not charged. So you have to have this aura around you. But it's also good as a decent, mob clearing skill. But it does have the cooldown, so, be warned about that. And next we have Nautilus Strike, which I just used. Which does a lot of damage, well, not really a lot of damage, but it hits 7 times for 444... Whatever the numbers, you can read it. The real thing that you want to use this for is the 2 extra lines that you get. For some reason, the 2 lines were attacking the enemy down here. But as you attack with Somersault Kick, Spiral Assault, Octopunch, or what was the other skill? Or Corkscrew Blow. Then you get 2 extra lines that do, I think, 250% damage? Yeah. And you get that buff for 40 seconds. So you only really have to wait 20 seconds before you get the buff again. Because there's a 60-second cooldown, you get the buff for 40 seconds. And then we have Double Blast, which is a very long-ranged beam. Pretty much Kamehameha. So, as you can see, it goes about that far. Reaches very far. And it's very slow, like casting it is slow. But, what was I gonna say? But it does pretty good damage. It's pretty good. You can even hit multiple platforms if you jump and use it at the right time. And when you're out of energy, it's much shorter. However, still just as useful, I guess. Alright, so... yeah. So when you charge, it also increases not only the range, but the damage that it does by 20%. So now we have Crossbones. This will increase your damage by 30%, and then it has the passive effects. And then we have Time Leap, which resets the cooldowns on your skills, does not affect 5th job skills, and I don't think it affects hyper skills. Yeah, it doesn't affect hyper skills. So this would be really useful for when you use double dice. So let's say you roll, you know, something you don't want, like that. You know, I could have used a 5 or a 6 if I was training. Use Time Leap to reset it, and then roll again. This is also a party skill, so it resets you and your party's cooldowns. Oh, and the cooldown for it is not that long. It's only 180 seconds. Really not that bad. Oh, I should also mention, if you reset cooldowns, you get a debuff here. And what this does is it prevents you from getting another Time Leap until this buff goes away. Or another reset, basically. Any other skills that can reset your cooldowns won't apply as long as you have this. Actually, I'm not sure about that. Let me read this. Well, it says only Time Leap, but I'm sure it works on other skills too. Like, let's say you Time Leap a 0. Does that mean that a 0 using their skill can still reset their skills? Or a 5th job Shade, you know, resetting their skills, does that still work? I mean, based on what they say here, I want to assume so. But I need to get someone to actually test it with, to confirm that. Alright, so moving on to Speed Infusion. This increases you and your party members' attack speed by 2, so it's basically a second booster. And thankfully, Knuckles, or the, you know, weapon that Bucks use, have an attack speed of 5. I guess I'm gonna go on to like a little rant here, so... Anyway. Knuckles have an attack speed of 5. The soft speed cap, as in you can't break it unless you use like a green potion from Monster Park, or some other various ways, like Aura and stuff. The soft cap is 2. So instantly, when you have Booster, you go from a 5 to a 3. And then when you have Speed Infusion, you go from a 3 to a 2. The reason I say 2 is because of the soft cap, but technically we're at a 1. So as soon as you use a green potion, you're going to be at the hard cap, which is 0 attack speed. So you don't need inner ability attack speed. Alright, so next is Maple Warrior. Increases you and your party's all stats by 15. Hero's Will cures you of abnormal status and leaves you immune to it for 3 seconds. Double Down. So this allows you to roll 2 dice. Although I have 3 because of the 5th job skill. And that's pretty much all that does, really. Just allows you to roll 1 more dice. 1 more die. I don't know why I said dice. Anyway. But yeah, there's a 50% chance to roll 2 die. Dice? Whatever. Ultra Charge. So now when you attack, you gain 350 energy. And when you are charged, you gain 50 attack and then some other effects. You charge twice as fast on bosses. This is also the case for the 3rd job version. I don't remember if I said it or not. But you charge 2 times as fast on bosses. And Pirate's Revenge. When you take damage, there's a 25% chance to take 40% less damage and increase your actual damage by 25%. And you'll see it activate when it says counter above my head. Although I don't know if these guys can hit me. I might have to find a bigger group of these guys. This might work. There we go. So it said counter, and I got the buff. The thing about this skill is you don't really want to take damage at certain bosses that one-hit you. However, it does protect you against percent HP attacks. This does not work on like bombs, because bombs are just an instant kill. I haven't had it work on Ark's Explosion, because, you know, only 25% chance. But it does work on Velum's Tail. Velum's Tail that one hits you, I've actually survived it, thanks to this. So, as I said, 25% chance to activate when you get hit. The damage that you take when it activates is reduced by 40%. And the amount of damage that it gives you when it activates is 25%. Did I say 20? I meant to say 25. And it lasts for 30 seconds. Speaking of which, it can actually overlap. So even though it has, well, I have buff duration, so it's lasting a little longer. But it'll reactivate. It doesn't have to like go all the way down. It can just reactivate as soon as it, whenever it wants to. So if you're being poisoned or hit repeatedly like I am, it'll continue to activate over and over. Alright, next is Typhoon Crush. You have a 40% chance to ignore all enemy defense, and it does apply to bosses. So this is like, if you don't have enough IED, you can go to Chaos Velum with like, I don't know, 70% IED, and sometimes you'll do normal damage at a 40% chance, but the other times you'll do like nothing. So, pretty good. But once you have enough IED, it's really, there's no point to this. Anyway. Well, I guess there is. Because even though you have... whatever. Math stuff. I guess that's a really good skill. It would be nice if it was a flat IED, though. Like, flat ignore enemy defense. Okay, so, for hyper passives, I did Double Down Saving Grace. If I were to get one dice roll, like, just one die, which I don't think will happen because I have the 5th job, then there's a 40% chance that the cooldown won't apply, which I haven't actually seen happen, and then the next 4 times that you cast it, you'll always have Double Down. Even though I mained this class, I haven't seen it do it. Maybe it does do it. I don't know. So I didn't add into the other 2 because I don't need IED, and this is only like a 10 or 15% chance for these numbers to appear. Even though those are the best numbers that you can get, it's not worth it. The percent chance that you get is not worth it. For Octopunch, I did all 3, damage, boss damage, and the number of lines. Buck Blast, which is the main mobbing skill, I didn't put into damage or monsters hit, but I did put into number of attacks. And then for active hypers, Stimulating Conversation. When you use it, you instantly charge all of your energy to full. And then, for a period of time, I don't remember how many seconds it is. Let's actually see. So I'm going to use it. Okay. Let's try to get rid of some energy. So as you can see, it's pretty much charging faster than I can use the energy. Not really, but it is going to be using a lot of energy, or charging up a lot of energy every few seconds. And that lasts for 2 minutes, but the cooldown is 240 seconds. So it's really good for energy management. You also get 20% extra damage for using it. And then the passive effect is nice too. Power Unity. So Power Unity takes up a lot of energy. It costs 1,500 energy. It hits 8 enemies for a lot of damage. But the main usage for it is that... Oh, and you can only use it when you're actually charged up, like when you have the aura and this is glowing. The main usage is for the buff that it gives. So it stacks 4 times, and each time you use it, it gives you 10% crit rate. Or, not crit rate, crit damage. Which is amazing. 40% crit damage. And the cooldown of the skill is 10 seconds. So when I first used this skill, I was actually using it as a mobbing skill. And then when I went to bosses, I used it as like a bossing... Well, I guess I still do that. But, yeah. So then we move on to the 200 skill. Epic Adventure. You gain 10% damage to you and your party as long as they're explorers, and it stacks with other explorers. And that is it for the Buck skills. So let me go over some mobbing. Alright, so the mobbing for Buck, basically, jump around and use laser. That is how I mobbed with this class. You don't have any vertical mobility until 5th job, so you do have to deal with that. But luckily the beam can hit 2 platforms. Hopefully you're training in a map that, you know, has close platforms, so that you can do that. And remember how I said the beam was slow? You could actually use Spiral Assault to make it seem faster. So you could do something like that, and then Spiral Assault at the end. You know, find ways to make it seem faster. And then remember that you could also use Corkscrew if you just want to teleport to an enemy. So you could do like a combo of Flash Jump, the Beam, Spiral Assault to get rid of the cooldown, and then Corkscrew to get back into the fight, like teleport back to the enemy. But the way that I trained was just this. It's very simple, very easy, and yeah. Oh, let me also show without energy. So this is training without energy. It's pretty much the same thing, just doesn't have as much range, or it's not as wide as well. But for the most part, it's the same. And this is also a good example to show you how energy charging works. So every attack that you do, you gain 350 energy thanks to the 4th job version. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something else too. Can't remember. Well, anyway. I guess it's time to go to the bossing. For the bossing, I'm actually going to reduce my damage down to the average between my classes, which is like 100k range for most of my classes. So alright, let's go to the bossing. Okay, so I've reduced my range to 100k when clean, and then buffed my range goes to 130. So this is 134. So this is pretty much the same as all my other classes. So I'm going to go ahead and use dice. I got a 5, so that's great. My range goes up even further. Stimulating Conversation to get the energy. And then use Nautilus Strike in order to gain the 2 extra lines. Oh, you know what? Whatever, I like this damage skin. And then just Octopunch. Also Dragon Strike, whenever it's off cooldown, or whenever you can. And if you're about to run into a dangerous attack, like, let's say I was fighting Vellum, then what I could do is I can teleport, well, not really teleport, but Spiral Assault away to get out of the range of the attack. And, yeah, that's pretty much Buck bossing. Until 5th job, and then things get amazing. But, anyway. Oh, and to cast Dragon Strike in the air, because sometimes you want to not get hit by an Earthquake attack, but you want to apply Dragon Strike. What you can do is press jump and Dragon Strike at the same time. Your character will jump, but the animation will still pretend like it's on the ground, like the hitbox of the attack won't move, like it won't go up as well. Just your character will. So it's a good way to apply Dragon Strike debuff while also being in the air. Or dodging an Earthquake attack or something. And yeah, that's about it for the Buck skills. Mobbing and bossing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you in the next video. See ya!